Ahoy! Welcome to another edition of the Linz Film Festival Bubble. As the West Ham fans sing before every game, I am forever blowing bubbles. And that's what we will do today in the studio. And we're very, very happy to blow our bubbles today with a guest who's like royalty, who's like stands for the most fantastic animation studio in Europe. His name is Will Becher. The name of the other guests, as you might know, is Wallace and Gromit. And the very famous evil guy, Will, tell me again?
Feathers McGraw.
Feathers McGraw, indeed. I'm also thrilled that we never had this little hair in the studio as we're having today. The amount is overwhelming. I'm happy that I could be a role model for you.
I did this for you today.
But you've been a role model for many animators around the world with the work that you're doing for Aardman Animation. And the film that you come to present here in Linz specifically, I mean, you talk about your whole career, but the film that you brought is Shaun the Sheep, Farmageddon.
Yes.
What makes a sheep so interesting? It could have been Carla the cow or Gary the goat, but no, it was a sheep.
Yes, so I think I have to start off by saying that Nick Park, who created Wallace and Gromit, he is an incredible character designer, and he loves animals. Clearly, he's made many programs, and I think everyone knows Creature Comforts. So Shaun the Sheep was born from one of his short film ideas, and really struck a chord with the audiences around the world. It was a series of events that led to Shaun becoming the world famous sheep he is. One of which was one of the Spice Girls wearing a Shaun the Sheep backpack, which took the character and made him a global icon.
Really?
But of course, it's the ideas that we make that really inspire the movies, and so that's what we do at Aardman. We just spend a long time thinking about what makes us laugh and what feels, you know, happy, sad, and that's the beginning of every film.
The story of Shaun the Sheep, as it says, takes place in the countryside, which is supposed to be a quiet and rather boring place at first sight, but it isn't. Many things are going on there.
Yes, so the premise indeed is Shaun really is like a sort of slightly bored kid. He has his mates around him, the rest of the flock, and Bitzer, a bit like the older brother, the sheepdog, and of course the farmer, who is like the parent that can never see what's going on behind him. And so despite the slightly perhaps empty surroundings, there's lots and lots of mischief and fun that the sheep get up to on the farm. When we make the feature films, we try and take them slightly outside of that to bring either something in from the outside or to take them out of that location to a new world.
What's your relationship towards dogs?
I like them a lot. Although I never had a dog until very recently, maybe 4 years ago, we had our first dog. But I've animated Gromit for many years, maybe 20. It's funny, when you're an animator, stop motion animator, you're very much the actor, and you're trying to understand the character and act frame by frame through movements. But really on this film, I did a small amount of animation at the end, and it was something that was very special between an adult and a dog, which was that Wallace, for the first time ever, would really rub Gromit's head in an affectionate way. And I think having a dog myself actually allowed me to understand what that was about. So you know, for the first time ever, I think I was animating with some knowledge of what I was doing.
But at the same time, in Shaun the Sheep, the dog is a different type of character. That's why I asked the question. I mean, there's so much passion that you put into Gromit, but then there is this rather clumsy and dog at the farm.
That's right. Bitzera, the sheepdog, he's one of my favourite characters to animate, mainly because he's always in a funny situation. And I've had a lot of, you know, personally, I get a lot of enjoyment from animating comedy. It's my safe space, my go-to, and it's what I enjoy doing. But we have such a vast team of people who make all the elements of these films. But with the animators, we really do try and cast them. So some animators are very good on comedy and timing. Others might be much better on very subtle animation or action. So we have different animators for different types of character.
I'm personally very bad with technique, not only animation technique, but technique in general. So I always hope that when I watch a film like Ackman's films, then I'm like, yeah, it's all about the ideas and the thoughts and about the creativity and the humor, until I saw your masterclass yesterday, and that I really adored, and I understood it's also a lot about techniques and about the perfectionism that is behind every single scene.
The rich... What I tried to do in my talk was share some of the stuff that doesn't get seen ever. It doesn't exist online, but it's the world in which we have in the studio, the craftspeople, 200 craftspeople who bring all of their passion and attention to detail to the props and the sets, and even the planning of the production is done with love. And so I love to share those clips in the masterclass, which show some of the crazy levels of detail that people go to make these worlds come to life.
Yeah, and there was another question that you raised in my mind when you were talking about the different scenes you were working on, and that you compared, like, what is the most difficult, the perfect frown on a dog's face, or a thrilling, spectacular train chase that is the highlight of the entire movie?
Yeah.
And both come with difficult challenges.
Yes, and I think what we learn, what I've learned over the years, is that there is no easy shots. Every single shot in the movie is complex, and we can never quite predict why or how. But it's often those very seemingly simple shots, maybe one character, that has to rely on such a unique piece of performance, and it's very hard to capture that through stop motion. And they're the shots that sometimes will actually take us longer. There's technical challenges whenever we have a chase sequence, and Aardman films are very well known for their high action sequences. In this film, it's a slow motion chase, which is equally complicated because we're moving cameras, and moving cameras means animating cameras as well as everything else. So yeah, the complexity is part of the love, the challenge that the crew really live for. You know, how are we going to do this? We've never done it before.
It's like a different question that I have for you. You were here as a jury member, so you watched a lot of animation from young animators. What does the competition tell you about this new generation of animators?
Well, it's fascinating because I made short films maybe 10, 15 years ago, but I'm outside of the loop of seeing a lot of short films. It's quite difficult to come across them. And so for me, being able to sit in the cinema with my fellow judges, but also the audience of children, it's really refreshing to see how many films are being made. And these are new films, but covering old ideas, new techniques, old techniques. It's a real mixture. And it was also interesting because it wasn't always the films I expected I would like that maybe were more memorable. So it's a celebration of the craft, I guess, of stories as well as techniques. That's what I've enjoyed. I think we saw 9 programs, 9 different screenings. It's a lot of films.
It's an animation overdose?
No, just the right amount.
Good. I can only ask you, I think you're the only person in the world who can tell me, how are good old Wallace and Gromit doing these days?
Yes, they are doing very well. They are very treasured within Aardman, and they are loved. You know, it's a real privilege for me to be able to bring the puppets to a festival like this, because I see and I can feel the love that they have around the world. And I do share this. You know, I will talk to Nick Park. I've sent him messages to say that people are loving the program and the film. So they're doing really well. They're big, having a feature film. The last one was 20 years ago, so it's been a while since we did a Wallace and Gromit film, and it was fantastic to see it.
They still were able to do it.
Yes, I mean, there's so many more ideas as well, so I think they're not going anywhere.
Okay, well, we have one last question for you, a question that we ask to everyone who's in the studio. You've spent the week in Zlin. You know what the city is all about. It's all about.
It's a fascinating place. It's about culture.
Shoes.
What shoes?
It's about shoes.
Well, yeah. Everything I've seen is connected to butter.
That's why we ask everyone in our studio, could you please put your foot on the table?
Yeah.
Show us the shoes that you're wearing and tell a story about the shoes that you're wearing, because every shoe comes with a story.
Okay. Well,
make yourself comfortable.
These are quite popular, common shoes now, and I got these fairly recently because I know I needed to have something comfortable for lots of running around Zlin. And these shoes come from a place near the studio in Bristol, although, of course, they're not made locally. I wish we had a batter in the UK.
But still, they carry a little bit of the Wallace and Gromit magic with them.
They do. In fact, they've probably got bits of clay from the studio stuck to the bottom of them. So quite literally, I bring the studio with me.
Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for being here and for giving us this wonderful Aardman universe that we all adore so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again in our Zlin Film Festival bubble. Ciao.